Illustrator has several tools that let you place objects exactly where you want them and in relation to each other. And you could do it all with just a few clicks. Let's take a look. When you want objects to line up a certain way, there are basically two ways of doing it. You can use the built-in ruler guides and smart guides like we talked about in an earlier chapter and then take the objects and drag them around with your mouse. Or you could have Excel do it automatically. Also, if you want objects distributed in a row or in a column evenly, again, you can use the ruler guides and smart guides and start dragging things around, or you could let Illustrator do it automatically. So these automatic features are what this lesson is all about. The file I have open is called Aligning, and you'll find it in the Chapter 7 folder of the project files, and just a bunch of random objects that I got from the symbols libraries in Illustrator. So let's say I want to start by lining all of these objects up on the left edge. Now, the left edge of what? It could be the left edge of the page. It could be the left edge of the leftmost object, which in this case is the balloon, or it could be really anything we choose. Let me show you how this works. First thing I want to do is I want to select all the objects. Now I can press Control-A or Command-A on the Mac and select all objects, or I can just put my mouse pointer somewhere, like down over here on the page, and just drag up and select everything. I'm using the regular selection tool. Now when I have all this stuff selected, I really should have in the top bar here, the control bar, a whole bunch of little alignment icons. Now you might have that on your screen. I don't have it on mine because I'm running at a low resolution for doing the recording. But what I do have, and maybe you have this also, is this little align button here, and if I click that, now I see all these different little alignment buttons. Now there is another way to do this that you don't even need this control bar, so I'm just going to click off it to get rid of that little pop-up. There's a panel, and the panel will just stay up just like any of these panels. If you go up to the window menu, and second from the top here is align, you see there's a shortcut, and when I click that, the alignment panel comes down. Now there's a couple of things here that you may not see that are options. If you click the little drop down here, you see right now on mine it says hide options. On yours, if you don't see it at all and you click this, it'll be show options. So we want these options to be visible right now. So as I started talking about a moment ago, we want to decide what are we going to align to, and that's what this is here in the lower right corner. And again, if you have these icons up here on the control bar, you'll have that aligned to somewhere on the end. I'll click this, and right now it's selected Align to Artboard. So I'm going to leave that, or if you don't have that, you want to select that. And to align all of these objects to the left of the artboard, I'm going to click this icon up here, Horizontal Align Left. And boom, there they go. They're all now aligned up to the left edge of the artboard. And as these little symbols imply, I can click this and align them all to the center of the artboard. Click this thing here, align them all to the right edge of the artboard, top, middle, or bottom. But that doesn't seem very useful in this circumstance here. So I'm just going to undo. I'll press Control-Z or Command-Z on the Mac a bunch of times to get everything back to where it was. Or if you want, you can simply go to the File menu and revert. Leave the object selected, or reselect if you need to, and click this Align To and choose Align to Selection. This is usually the default. Now when I click this here, Align Left, you notice they all align to the left edge of the balloon because the balloon was the leftmost object. Again, let's undo. And let's say we decide we want to align to the right. Now the right edge of this muscle car here is the rightmost spot of all of the objects. So when I click this here, Horizontal Align Right, they're all going to align to the right edge of the muscle car. Again, I'll undo. Same thing goes for top and bottom alignment. The top of this atom here is the topmost object here, and the bottom edge of the propeller of this old-fashioned airplane is the bottommost object. So if I want everything to align to the top edge of the atom, I'll click this, and they're aligned to the top. Again, I'll undo. I click this vertical align bottom. They all align to the bottom edge of the propeller. Again, I'll undo. Now, aligning horizontally or vertically to the middle is a little more ambiguous because what Illustrator is going to do is just going to average out. It's just going to say, okay, from the left edge of the balloon here to the right edge of the car is a certain distance, and whatever is the halfway point is the middle. So when I click this align objects horizontally to the center. So it just kind of averages that out. And I'll undo. And the same thing for vertical. Whatever's the distance between the top edge of the atom and the bottom edge of the propeller is going to be the middle. And when I click this here, vertical align center, you see everything aligns with its center to that center area. Again, let's undo. But what I really like is the ability to align to an object that you select rather than Illustrator just kind of creating an average. So let's say, for example, we want to align all of the objects to the right edge of the atom. What we do is we make that a key object. Now, I mentioned briefly before under this Align To, we have this key object. You might wonder, okay, well, where does that key object come from? You can basically ignore that here, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave Align To Selection selected, and I'm going to make this atom the key object. The way I do that is I hold down the Alt key or the Option key on the Mac and click it, and now you notice it gets kind of a little border around it. That makes it the key object. So now when I click this, horizontal align right, that stays in place and everything aligns to it. Again, let's undo. And it works with all the other directions. Let's say I decide I want everything aligned to the bottom edge of this flower here. I'll hold down the Alt key or the Option key on the Mac and click the flower. So now it has that border. And now when I click this here, vertical align bottom, the flower stays in place and everything now aligns to its bottom. Okay, so let's look at distributing. And I'm just going to drag this stuff up here. Or you can delete them if you want. I'm done with them. When I distribute objects, more often than not, I'm distributing copies of the same object. So let's go and draw something. I'll go and click and hold here on the rectangle tool. Maybe I'll bring up the polygon tool. And I'm just going to drag here. Now this is a default hexagon. I think I want an octagon. So as I'm holding down the mouse button, I'm going to tap the up arrow on the keyboard twice. And I'll just hold the Shift key down to keep it straight. And that's good. And let's give it a color. I'll maybe go up here for a fill color. Whenever I see an octagon, I don't know about you, but to me they make me see red. And let's just go and get the selection tool, and I'll move this maybe over there. It doesn't have to be an exact spot, but so now we have this sitting there. So let's say we want a whole bunch of these objects, and I'm going to show you a couple of ways of doing this. I'm going to put my mouse pointer right on the octagon. I'll hold down the Alt key, or the Option key in the Mac. And I got this two-headed arrow, and I'm just going to drag straight across. So you see these smart guides are giving me guidance of where the new object is going to be. And I'm not really paying too much attention to how far or how close they are from each other, and I'll deselect. So I have a bunch of these, but what if I want them all evenly spaced? Well, let's select them all. And over here we could distribute here 3 different ways vertically, but what I'm really interested in here is different ways horizontally. And let's say we want them horizontally distributed by their centers. I'll do that. Now, because these are all copies of the same thing, it doesn't matter which of these we select, because whether they're distributed from the right edge or the left edge or the centers, it's all going to be the same thing. But they're all distributed with the leftmost object staying where it was, on the rightmost object staying where it was, on all the objects in the middle kind of adjusting. But what if we decide we want these distributed from the left edge of the artboard to the right edge of the artboard? We'll go over here where it says Align To. That really could also say Align and Distribute To. I'll choose Align to Artboard, and now when we distribute, they're all distributed from one edge of the artboard to the other edge of the artboard. Now also over here we have this distribute spacing, and what that'll do is that will allow us to specify how much space in between the objects we want. In order to use that, and you see this is grayed out, we have to specify a key object. So what I'm going to do is I'll hold down the Alt key or the Option key on the Mac, and I'll just click this first octagon. So when this becomes a key object, now you see this little box comes alive. And let's say I want 1 inch space in between the objects. I'll simply turn that to 1, and then I'll click this here, horizontal distribute space, and now there is 1 inch of space in between each one. But now let me show you a nice little trick that you can use to distribute a whole bunch of these across the page without having to go through aligning or distributing. You just deselect this, and I'm going to delete all but one of those octagons here. And I'll select this, and I'll just bring it over here. It doesn't really matter where it is. I'm going to start by creating a duplicate. So like I did way back at the beginning, I'll hold down the Alt key or the Option key on the Mac so get the two-headed arrow, and then I will drag this to the right. Now, if you're having trouble keeping it in line there, you could hold the Shift key down, so when you move the mouse pointer up or down inadvertently, you don't move the thing up or down. And I'll just drag right about there. And whenever you do a mouse and keyboard combination, you always want to make sure to let go of the mouse first before letting go of the keyboard. Now, from a previous chapter, we were talking about transforming and the transform again command. So I'm going to press Control D. That will transform again. And I can press Control D a bunch of times. And I'm transforming again and again and again. Now, if you don't want to remember Control D, you could go up here to the Object menu, choose Transform, and Transform again. But if you want to do this a whole bunch of times, to go through the Object menu and transform again, time and time again, good luck. I just find that Control D is a lot easier to use. And the same will work if you want the object going, let's say, vertically or some other direction. I'll take this, and again, I'll hold down the Alt key or the Option key on the Mac and the Shift key, and I'll drag straight up like that. And now again, I'll transform again by pressing Control D a whole bunch of times. So let's say if I was making a tile pattern or something, let me just select these vertical ones here and delete. I'll just grab these and move these up here somewhere. If I wanted to make a tile pattern, like for a floor or something, I could take a whole bunch of objects and then hold down the Alt key and the Shift key and drag down, and then Control D a bunch of times. So aligning and distributing objects are a really powerful feature, and they're so powerful sometimes you don't even need them.